You really can't make this stuff up, except it's also predictable. J.D. Vance, the vice president, in a shockingly pathetic moment, not exactly a profile in courage, says that for anything bad that's going on, this is still Joe Biden's economy. Of course, for anything good, it's Donald Trump's economy. He was interviewed on Fox News by Brett Baer. Here's what he had to say when confronted with the undeniable reality that the GDP declined for the first time in years during Donald Trump's first quarter in office. JD says, Joe Biden, that's the guy you got to be looking at.
The economy shrank. First time in 3 years. People are pointing to the tariff policy. There are people looking at their 401ks that are worried. What do you tell them? Is this going to work?
So the first thing is, when you talk about the economy, this is Joe Biden's economy, and we inherited $2 trillion of debt, the highest peacetime deficits in American history, a $1.2 trillion trade deficit, which fundamentally means we're not making enough of our own stuff. And the president came in and he said, this is not always going to be easy. It would have been very easy for Donald Trump to do what administrations past have done, which is borrow a lot of money and continue fueling the national debt. He said, no, we need a reset. We need American workers to have better jobs. We need to protect the jobs that they have right now. And we need to be more self-reliant as an economy, which, by the way, will drive down those skyrocketing levels of debt that we've seen. That is what he promised he was going to do. And he came in and we've started that process now.
Oh, JD. You know, the economy contracts for the first time in years, directly after Donald Trump's new tariff chaos starts. Economists point directly to what Trump is doing as the reason why the GDP declined. And JD Vance still manages to point the finger at Joe Biden. So is it gaslighting or is it total economic illiteracy? I think it's a sort of why not both type of situation. Trump's been back in office now for more than 4 months. His administration unilaterally imposes these sweeping tariffs. They're on, they're off. It's on allies, it's on adversaries. Some of them take effect and then they're paused and no one knows what's going on. Other countries are moving away from the United States and making deals with each other. And what we see is the Q1 GDP report come in negative for the first time in years. We see tightening supply chains. We see consumer confidence decline significantly. Manufacturing output is declining. Even Fox News points it out. The shrinkage took place after Trump's policy change. But J.D. Vance goes, oh, no, this is Joe Biden, who, of course, hasn't been in office since January. Trump's base still has not absorbed that tariffs are taxes on consumers. Trump puts a tariff on Chinese goods that doesn't, in the immediate, hurt China. It hurts you if you're trying to buy a phone or a car part or potentially even groceries. During Trump's first trade war in the first term, the average American household paid about an extra $1,200 a year because of Trump's tariffs. A 2023 Moody's report, this is before Trump won and took power, said if we restart tariffs, we could see stagflation-like conditions and consumer demand is going to weaken. And that's exactly what's happening. And they're blaming Biden, even though every economist predicted if Trump does this, this is what's going to happen. So this is classic MAGA strategy. Claim credit for anything good, blame a Democrat for anything bad. If inflation's down, that's thanks to what Trump has done. If gas prices are up, that's something to do with Joe Biden. If the GDP is up, it's thanks to Trump. If the GDP is down, it's thanks to Biden. Now, I want to propose to you an alternative scenario. Imagine that Q1 GDP had gone up. Do you think J.D. Vance would be going around saying, oh, that's Biden's economy, even though GDP was up during Biden's presidency? No. If GDP had been up in Q1, they would be saying it's thanks to what Donald Trump did. If Trump's economy tanks, it's not really going to be because of Joe Biden. It's going to be because Trump goes back to the same failed trade policies that killed manufacturing last time. And J.D. Vance is all too eager to just point the finger and say, it's Biden. If it's bad, it's Biden.